Hello, my name is Segun Awolowo. I'm glad to be with you again today. We've been talking about different things, subjects as regards starting a business and growing your business. It's the desire of every entrepreneur to be in business and succeed and grow. And that's what we've been looking at. Different areas, different issues. You need to go and subscribe to my YouTube page, and then you will see a lot of issues and discussions we've had before. But today we're going to be looking at simple ways to save money in business. You have to understand, to learn to grow business, it requires simple knowledge and wisdom. It is critical and it's important. And I'm going to show you a few things that you can do and learn in saving money. When you start or after you started, it is important that you know that every money that you make must be divided into appropriate places, appropriate quarters, such that it is not everything that comes to your mind or to your hand. It is not every money that comes into your pocket that you are permitted to spend. There are things that you must learn when it comes to the subject of money. Number one is money is to be made. You make money, and then it's a level on its own. You make money, you spend money, you save money, you invest money. But the last of all of them is to spend money. Most times when you make money, the next thing an average entrepreneur want to do is to spend the money. That's why you see a lot of people started business, and in less than 5 years the business cannot survive again, and they shut down the business. It's because they do not understand how to appropriately put this whole thing in order. So you make money, you save the money, invest the money, and then get to spend the money from the proceed you get from your investment. But that's not what we're talking about right now. So how do you save money in business? Now, there are two different things you must learn also. Number one is your turnover is critical, and then your profit. You don't make mistake to think that your turnover is the same thing as your profit. Every sale that you make, when you sell a product and then client or your customer pay you, then at the end of the day you make 1 million naira. That's like your turnover. It's not your profit. You must learn to identify what is your costs of production, how much are you expected to spend or even invest, and then you know what is your profit margin like. All of these you must identify, which is very important. Don't spend all that comes to you and think that that business is going to survive. So when you sell, sit down to identify how much are you permitted to spend. And this is what I will advise you, which is critical, and you have to pay attention to this. In doing business, even your profit is still not permitted. You are not permitted to even spend your profit for a period of time. If you want to survive and succeed, even when you have made profit, my advice is this: if your profit from a transaction is 100,000 naira, from that profit, set apart at least 25% of that profit. That's what you are allowed or supposed by my own advice, advised to spend. The remaining 75% should be put back into that business. At sometimes it is called bootstrapping, that your profit is returning back to the business over and over and over until the business is strong enough to run on its own. That's what we call working capital. It's a capital that you need when opportunities show up. I give you an example. If you sell product, for example, and then there is this opportunity that somebody just bring in some products on item that you deal with, and then on a normal day you are supposed to buy from the secondary markets maybe for 50,000 naira, and then someone shows up and say, I need cash urgently. Instead of buying for 50,000 naira, if you can pay me 40,000 naira, I'll let you have this product. At that time, if you are not with liquid cash, you miss out on that opportunity. But you can imagine that you have enough working capital to work with, and then you take advantage of that opportunity, and it gives you more leverage to maximize your profit and then achieve more result at the end of the day. That's why my advice is, when you sell, you provide a service, especially for those who provide services, you don't understand how this whole thing works. Somebody says, I just rendered a service, I've not bought any product and I've not sold anything, but you don't understand that there is a value that must be placed on your time. There must be a value that must be placed on your skill, because it requires time and skill and energy to provide a service. Somebody says, I just helped you to wash your cloth, I have not spent any money, but you have spent time, you have spent energy, and it requires skill to render that service. You need to place value on those things. And so when you make that money, don't spend all. Keep 75% and put back into the business, because a time will come that you need to scale the business to a new level. And I tell you, people won't trust you with their resources except they have discovered that you have done well with your own little resources. No bank will give you money until they have discovered that from your records you have been able to grow from 5,000 to 10,000 and to 20,000, and then they can trust in your capacity to also do well with their own resources. So what you do when you sell, save 75% of your profit and put it back into the business, because the times will come when opportunity will show up. And then let me tell you this, for those of us who deal with equipment, for example, one thing that has helped us is this. I remember we started with one particular item, just one. We started with one, and my goal was to get to 10. And what we were doing was, every sales, every service we were providing, every money, I was practically feeding on less than 20% of the proceed. Less than 20%. Everything was going back into the business. Everything was going back into the business. And I remember at a time we moved from one of those items to two, we moved from 2 to 3, and from 3 to 4, and until one day we were counting almost 20 of the same item. How did it happen? Everything was coming back. At that time, when you walk into the bank to say, I need to scale my business, they want to ask you, what do you have? What do you have in your hands? And then by the time you present your books and they check what you already have, it is easier for them to trust you with their resources. That's how you grow. That's how you expand. That's how you enlarge your business. It's important that every sales you make, another thing I will advise is, every sale you make sure you keep records. Record keeping is essential and critical when it comes to saving money in business. Another thing that you must pay attention to is this, which is critical. A whole lot of times somebody says, give me cash, and then because I need cash to live, to run, and then you take the cash, and the next thing you want to do is to go to the supermarket to go and buy what you need for your personal need, and then you spend from the money that is for the business. It's absolutely wrong. So our advice: separate your personal life from your business life. You don't live your life and the business life together. So you must have at least two separate accounts, a business account and your personal account. Every money that comes to you must first of all, pay attention to that, must first of all go into the business account. It's a way of disciplining yourself. Even if you are hungry, listen to me, even if you are hungry and you need food, even if there is no food at home, it is important to first of all let the money for the business go straight. Even if they pay you cash right now, it's easier to do transfer to your bank account. Even if they pay you cash, get the money first to the bank, and then you can then do a withdrawal to your personal account based on the agreement and the arrangement you have, because you must also learn not to go beyond certain limits. So the advice is, be on salary, pay yourself salary. And so if your salary is 100,000 naira, you can draw 10,000 naira from the business within a space of 1 month based on your need per time. It's not out of place. And then just be sure that you are not spending your money or your business money on your personal life. If you do, it's going to run that business down, and that is very important. So remember, separate your business account from your personal account, and let every money that comes into the business go straight, first of all, into the bank. I will say it again, let the money for the business go straight into the bank. You know why? A time is going to come that you will need external fund, and the only way to get people to trust you with their fund is when you show them your record. I remember some times ago I needed to get some fund from outside, and then they asked me, show us your 6 months statement. And I remember I went to print. At that time, it was not now that you can get them online and then forward the e-copy to the organization. And I remember I had to print the 6 month payment inflow and outflow for 6 months. And I remember I dropped it on the table of the young man, and he was asking me, I said 6 months. I said, yes, that's 6 months. It looked like 6 years. You know why? Because every kobo was going through the account. Every kobo. That's one way to take you serious, and that's one way to attract people from outside. So do everything you can to keep all your records together, and don't spend more than 20% of your profit, not 20% of your turnover. Now separate your turnover from your profit and take just 20% from your profit, at least for the first 5 years of doing business. Nothing less. For the first 5 years, do with 20%. You are not going to die. You will not die. It's a way of deceiving yourself to think you are not going to survive. Before that business came, you have been surviving. So know very well that without the 20%, you will still survive. So feed on 20%, and then let the remaining, or 25%, let the remaining 75% go back into the business and use it to build the business, and build the business to the point where people can look at you and say, we like to be part of what you're doing. And when that time comes, you are not in business yet. It's easier and it's better. I hope you have learned something today, and then do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Segun Awolowo. You will learn so much.